Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Live. Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira, your niche navigator, coming to you live with another interesting and fantastic guest. Our guest is a transformer, not the piece of equipment, but he's a catalyst transformer. That's what I've seen him as. He's awesome on LinkedIn. We want to know what he does because he teaches people to make that change one piece at a time. Welcome, Rob. Welcome to our show.
Munira, thank you for having me. You are a captain that is navigating. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. So, this show is about changing your lives and figuring out your niche. There's so many people out there who are still on the fence, who are still looking, who are still trying to figure out what their purpose in life is, what they could do to take their life to the next level.
Yeah.
And as the niche navigator, I am your captain and we take you on that journey.
Yeah.
But before we do that, we bring guests like Rob Howze here, and his stories and stories that you hear here can make that transformation for your life.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to talk about. So without further ado, let's talk to Rob. Rob, welcome to our show, Munira's Musings. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me. Over the last 20 plus years, I've, studied various sectors. I enjoy so many things. I'm really interested in the growth of the mind, body, and spirit. And so over the last 20 years, I've studied psychology, neuroscience. I was a pastor for 10 years. I've started a couple of nonprofits, a couple of TV shows on the air, started a couple of companies, worked with children, public speaking, taught in schools, and now the alarm is going off. Sound the alarm, everybody, because there's a fire here, and I'm on fire.
You right?
I'm on fire, and literally, we're gonna still flow. I'm on a podcast. Please turn that off as soon as you can. Thank you. We'll see if that works. And so, life experiences like it creates something inside of you, and through the utilities, this is pretty amazing. Okay.
This is so much fun because you know what? In life, we get hiccups, and this is an amazing hiccup that's happening on our show. But the show must go on. So while we're waiting for Rob, we're going to talk about growth and personal relationships and just growth. And I know Rob is a catalyst, and I call him a transformer. But transformers sit there and they regulate energy. And I think what he's just told us, that he's been a pastor, a teacher, a influencer, a TV show host, and etc., whatever he said, so many things. He is a transformer because the main purpose of his transformation duty is to help people make that change. So go on, Rob. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. Sorry, my house was burned down for a second. It was a bagel. It was the bagel on fire. But you're right. And all those things that I've learned, though it's created something in me. So now what I use, those skills, ideas, expertise to help people empower themselves, their mind, their body, their spirit. I care about that. And what I've learned through all those areas, one of the main parallels in everything that I've learned, and I can kind of sum it down to, if you do these key things, it doesn't matter what you're doing, what industry you're in, what you're trying to accomplish, you'll get it. And so it's self-reflection, course correction, and humility. I call it the fulfillment formula. It's very interesting. It's very simple. It's complex when we think too much about it. But self-reflection is just introspective. Taking a look at how you're thinking, how you're showing up. Self-reflection is also look at how other people say you're showing up. A lot of times we think we're showing up a certain way, but people have other opinions. And not to say everyone's opinion determines who you are, but people's opinions matter. It creates the landscape of the environment. So self-reflection, then course correction allows you to make the adjustments. This is very important because the moment you do introspect, or if you're in your business and you're reviewing something, or you're in your life and you're reflecting, the next step is making the adjustment. It's super important we put that right there, because a lot of times we wait on making the adjustments, and that creates procrastination. And procrastination obviously is the killer of dreams and the thief of ideas. So self-reflection, course correction, and humility. Have humble eyes. Look through life, look through the eyes of life with humble lens. The ego is important because the ego helps us believe in ourselves. Ego tells you you can do it. But if you're not careful, the ego gets inflated. That's what a big head is. And that's how you float away from the real reality we're in. So keeping a slice of humble pie, which will be available for everyone soon, because I'm going to get slice of humble pie to give out free to everyone. You pay for shipping, and it's a slice. You can put it on your keychain, put it on your mirror in your car. I'll have one in my pocket. Just slice of humble pie to remind you, be humble. Think things through. So self-reflection, course correction, and humility. So based on everything that I've done, nothing matters unless I do these three things, because accuracy is what's important when you want to have consistency, sustainability, when you want to have growth. And so those three things will hold you still.
This is wisdom right here. Pearls of wisdom falling through Rob Howze. The thing is that what you've said is so amazing. But we'll come back to that. But I want to go back a little bit. You said for 20 years you've been interested in psychology and how the mind works. How did this interest spark in you? And I mean, did you have a career before that? Like, were you in corporate, or were you doing something, then it course corrected, in your own
Oh,
words?
that's good. That's good. Psychology has always been an interest of mine before I knew that it was a thing, right? I've always been very observant and always intuitive. I just didn't know what it all was. Then, right when I graduated from high school, I got robbed and got shot. Got a gun pointed in my head, shot at 3 times, bullet went through me. There's a whole other story of another day. Pretty amazing, pretty miraculous. I'm still here. I had holes in the front of my shirt where the bullet just skinned through me. It went through my arm, went in my friend's leg. Really crazy. The point behind all that was there was an awakening, right? A super. It's almost like when Spider-Man, the spider came down and bit him. This weird thing happened. I mean, clearly that happened, and something just went off. So my awareness went higher. So psychology is a way for me to be able to keep myself sane, to understand how things are working. So I took it up in college for a couple of years as well. Then, of course, YouTube University and Google State College as well. And I began to learn how the mind works and the psychology of the mind and the philosophies that we've adopted, and how neuroscience, and how when you just think of something, people don't realize when you think of something, it matters, because it becomes matter. Because the moment you think of anything, it becomes a cell that can be detected with a certain type of instrument. You can see the cell. And the more you think about that thought, it creates other cells, which are bundles, and you can see it. So what you think matters. Everything matters. So it's really interesting. So when I began to start looking at life through that lens, I mean, come on, I made better choices. Then I had my first mentor at 25, Dr. Wayne Dwyer, and I heard this phrase that literally changed my life. One phrase changed the way I looked at life forever, because I was in a horrible, not a horrible relationship, but like horrible like mindset in a relationship. The girl was cool, but I was just whack. Stuff was whack, and everything was whack. But then I got this tape, Dr. Wayne Dwyer. He said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I said, shut the front door. Because literally, I just changed the way I was looking at everything, and everything I was feeling, the anxiety. Literally, if you could have measured the chemicals, the cortisol, the oxytocin, the serotonin, if you could have measured that in me, you would have seen a drastic change instantly. Why? I was thinking. I changed the way I was looking at things. So I say all that to say, psychology is one of the most important things that anybody can study and can take a look at. Self examination. Begin to understand the self and how you work, because if you don't, you're not, first of all, you're not going to be able to operate at your highest level. And second, you're going to think things are wrong when it's not necessarily wrong. It's just not the way that maybe you're supposed to be going or doing. And so you adjust. And it's all about your perspective. I know I said a lot.
No, that's awesome, right? So you talk about chemicals and stuff, and one phrase, right? That one phrase changed your life. But was it that easy to just change the way you were looking at things? Because
Yeah.
most
Oh
people
yeah. In that
sit
moment.
there, true, right? But most people sit there and dwell, and how am I going to look at this? How am I going to look at this? And they sit there twiddling their thumbs,
Mhm.
and they don't know what they are doing.
Right.
So how did you make that change? Tell us how you just flip with a
Yep.
flip or flick with
Very
the
good question,
snap. How did you do that?
Munira. That's really good cut. Really great question. Really great question. You know, I think the best thing I started doing was I started writing things down. I remember when I was a teenager and I first started writing things, like I always wrote things down with songs and things since I was 12. But like my ideas, when I started writing them down, I was able to segment them more. Most people can't get started because all their ideas are everywhere. You got to remember, we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. So think about that. Think about the 60 to 70,000 cars on the highway of your mind, right? Some blowing a horn, some yelling, screaming, some yelling explicits, some smoking in there. It's like just everywhere. How are you going to get anything? That's crazy. You got to create stillness. And the way you create stillness, one, is writing things down, and two, actually creating a time where you don't have any type of external stimulus. You have no type of external distractions. Where you're just taking a walk, you're running, you're in nature, you're at the beach. What people can do is cut away the distractions. There's the reason why we can't get started because we have so many things pulling at us, so many things tugging at us, and we haven't segmented our thoughts. So 2 steps. Write down your ideas. Once you write your goal down, you're 80% more likely to accomplish it. Bing! We're moving forward. 2, start to remove the distractions by creating stillness for yourself a couple times a day, even for just 5 minutes. 5 minutes where you don't have Facebook, you don't have TikTok, Clubhouse, LinkedIn, phones, texts, movies, Netflix. It's just stillness. And this is what begins to start to build the mind. And what happens is, once you do it once, you'll want to do it more. And then you'll start creating this space where you can hold your idea. There's no space for the idea because we're just moving. So 2 steps, create the space.
I love what you said. There's so many stimulus out there. First it was TV. First it was radio. Then it was TV. And now we have iPad, iPhone. I mean, not just bashing the Apple things, but we
Right.
have, the tablet, right?
Yep.
And the phones. And then we have the computer. So at any given time in my office right now, I have 2 computers going. Literally 2 computers going, 2 phones going. I have a tablet that's charging. And so if I get out of here and we come to a point where we are not still, not only that, but we are listening to or we are doing something on these devices, lo and behold, if you left the house without your phone, you would go back to go get it, right? That's what's happening.
Right.
But you said find time. And you're talking about meditation or you're just being in nature. Does that ever happen? Like, how do you calm? How do you refrain yourself for 5 minutes to not look at any of the devices?
Well, you know what? If there's no purpose for a thing, it's kind of hard to do. If people try to do something just because they saw someone else do it, it's a good idea. That won't last long. There has to be a reason why you're doing it. And so the reason why I do what I'm doing because I have a why. I have something I'm trying to accomplish, a mission. And I know that in order for me to do that, I got to be effective and I want to feel good. I don't want to be stressed. So I have to be organized. And so there's a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. So people have to find their why first. You got to find out why you're doing what you're doing. And then you can build in your habits around that. And your habits have to include some moments of stillness. And that can be just walking. And what you'll find is that you'll actually enjoy it. You'll enjoy it more than you think. Because what happens is when you get all these different stimuli, you just become a part of everything that's around. Where's the self? And that's why it's hard to find self. That's why depression is so high. That's why antidepressants are skyrocketing. People can't find themselves because they're everywhere else. So the moment you disconnect, that's called making a decision. It's like the Greek word, like cut away. When you make a decision, it's like you cut away everything else. Make a decision for stillness, and you'll love it. And if you don't commit to it, you just won't get it. It's fine. But anyone who does, you'll be back because you'll get this clarity. And clarity is what clears anxiety. Clarity is what clears depression. It does. When you're depressed, it's because you're really thinking about something that happened before. Like, oh, you're so stuck in the past. And when you're anxious, like, oh, something could happen. I'm not sure what it's going to be. You're way in the future. Clarity brings you to the present. And the present is the gift. That's why it's the same word. If you type the word present in your phone, you'll get the gift. If you type the word gift in your phone, you'll get the gift, the same one. So that's something. The moment is now. So the present is the gift. The way you open it up is to live now. It's in the word.
That's so true, because I'll tell you a story that happened to me. My husband was very sick, and he had broken his knee, and he had other issues going on, and then he was finally on dialysis. And in all of that, I was trying to promote my business, and I was at a doctor's office at least once a week, trying to figure out healthcare and his issues and everything. And then I met one lady on a call like this, and she said to me, her best advice to me was live in the moment. That was it. So she had been a hospice nurse for her mother and her late husband. And she said, Munira, I'm going to give you one advice, live in the moment. And so for 8 months, I shut down my show. I shut down my business. I mean, I just became stagnant in this part of the world.
Right.
And all I did was take care of my husband. That was my whole universe.
Oh my gosh. That's wonderful.
And he passed away in January last year, right?
Say what again?
But he passed away in January of last year, pre-COVID.
Sorry to hear that.
But thank you. But, I felt okay. I was okay because I'd given him my everything. And there were no regrets about anything, about I'm going to leave something behind, or what if I had not, if only I had spent more time with him, if only I had done that. I gave it my all, right?
Oh my God.
So focused, right? And that's what
beautiful.
we're talking about. Live in the moment, because you don't want regrets.
That is, you better find, where's that lady? Send her some flowers in the, who is that lady? You know who she is? The one
yes, I do. I do know her, and I keep in contact with her. But when he passed away, I was able to let him go. Even when he was in the hospital, I was able to let him go without causing a riot, without just breaking down.
Yeah.
And I sent her a message and said, what you told me is so amazingly true. And she goes, it comes from experience, just pass it along. But the thing is, people don't want to do that. When I go to family gatherings, I see people on the phone, and you'll see 2 people texting back and forth. 15 people, if in a 15 people setting. So why can't you just tell her what you want to say instead of typing it out? And then I have a rule, like, if you want to chat, don't come to my house.
Yeah.
I got in trouble with my uncle because I took his phone and I said, we are here. And he got really mad at me. But my point is, you're here, we meet once in a while.
Yeah.
Why can't you just give me your undivided attention?
Yeah. It's hard.
But
yeah.
But people don't understand what the meaning behind it. So I think part of what you're saying is just create space for yourself. Because when you create space for yourself, and correct me if I'm wrong,
you're on it.
then you can add other people who are of importance in it.
Come on.
Am I correct?
You're speaking it.
So thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for shining that
Yeah,
light.
you speaking it and you're living it. And my goodness, that experience, I'll never forget what you just told me today. Never. Like, anything you ever hear, your subconscious has it somewhere. You may not consciously remember it. But this I will consciously remember. That's the most beautiful thing I've heard about presence and being present, of how you got so centered. You're like, okay, this podcast, everything else, I got my focus. I have my assignment. I know what my purpose is for this moment. And you lived in it. And what it did was it strengthened you, gave you wisdom. Oh, that's so freaking beautiful. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is what getting present does. And if you don't know, now you know. And it's many ways. If you're ever feeling depressed or anxious, try this. Change what you're thinking about. Just try it. Shift it completely to something completely positive, thinking about somebody else and what someone else could get, thinking about loving someone else, kids winning, families getting food, people not dying, someone getting out of COVID. Think about whatever you could think about, your business and all the people that are receiving the money and the business and their families that are getting. If you just shift it and force your shift, 17 seconds. If you can stay out of it for 17 seconds, guaranteed you another thought will come to help. 17 seconds. Just try to get out of that. It's tough. Watch. Try not to think about a pink elephant. Pink elephant. Pink elephant. Pink elephant. Pink elephant. Pink elephant. It's impossible. The brain only can register what is being said. So if you change your focal point, what you're thinking, your perspective point, your mindset point, by changing your dialogue, right? Reframing what you're saying, you would change your direction. And it's a practice. It's not, oh, poof, it's over, I'm safe forever. No, it's you shift it and it'll start going back. You shift, you start going back and you shift. And before you know it, this starts happening more automatically. And it just happens automatically now. But right now, people are like, they're here and they make a quick change and it goes back here. And like, oh, we're back here again. I can't do it. No, just go again. Oh, before you know it, you'll be straight. It'll stay straight. But you have to put in the time. You got to put it in.
You remind me of a story that I heard. I'm not sure of the characters, but there was this one captain, literally a captain in a ship, who saw this. There was a lot of fog there, and they kept telling the person, they saw the radio and they told that person, you have to move your ship, your vessel to so many degrees. So the message came back and says, negative, I am not moving, you have to alter your course, move this many degrees to the right, or whatever the whole thing, the sailors talk is, right?
Yeah, the
and
coordinates.
they kept, but one of them wanted to stand, right? The ship wanted to stand his ground, and he goes, I'm not moving, you have to move, otherwise we are going to have an accident. And finally the guy says, I cannot move because I am the lighthouse, so you will have to move, right? And then he altered course because it was going to be his own demise if he hadn't.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, people tell you to change all the time. All these thoughts tell you to keep, alter your course.
Yeah.
And you keep doing what you are doing. And Einstein said the same thing is, in the definition of insanity. But if you keep moving, if you keep altering just a little degree, and it starts by changing your thoughts. So it's so profound because this came to mind as soon as you said, change your degrees, and I was like, oh, I have to tell you this story.
Yeah, that's on. Get those coordinates together. Get those coordinates together.
So I love it. So how do you help people?
So in business, I got a couple of things. In business, I have a company called Scale Through Automation with my partner Wilton, and we help businesses get their people, the process, and their technology together. Make sure the people are doing the right things. Maybe everyone has a process they're doing, but like 30% of that stuff at least is like really crap, mundane, unnecessary work. So we help them bring more value to the people by reallocating their energy, making their processes more efficient, company makes more money, and everybody wins, right? So on the business side, that's what we do. And then on the personal side, I'm out doing things like this. It's really all kind of ties to how can I empower somebody. I do have a lot of insight in different areas. I'm not practicing as a personal trainer or a psychologist or a life coach, but I have those things under my belt, and I kind of use them all right now when we're talking with companies and helping them, because it really comes down to the people of the organizations. When you're helping a company, you got to make sure the people are taken care of. It's the people, the process, and the technology. Anyone who has a company, this is the way you do it: people, process, and technology. Make sure your people are taken care of, making sure that they have what they need, and good communications and good leadership. And then your processes, make sure you have good processes from end to end. You understand what's happening. If you don't, you got to dissect that and unpack and make sure. And then third thing is make sure you have technology. Automation has to be a part of what you're doing, because the world is moving very fast. It's moving faster than ever. And if you don't have technology in your business, you are falling behind. If you don't have automation in your business, somebody does. And in your industry is going to be moving further away from where you are. So get educated, get some insight. You can get it anywhere online, and I'm a person you can talk to if you're interested.
How do people find you? That's a perfect cue.
LinkedIn is a great place. LinkedIn is I encourage everyone to go there, because it's just where networking and marketing and people are at. All the business and relationships over the last 3 years, it's unmatched to anything in my life. Okay, so that's one. But the other thing is, I'm also the number one Rob Howze on Google.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's a really unique last name. There's a reason for that. But there is like 7 or 8 of us out there, and so I'm kind of leading the pack, because I think I got online. I got on the internet first.
That's perfect.
Yeah, go to Google or LinkedIn.
Perfect. So Rob Howze, if you want to fix your automation stuff, so people, process, and technology, and then he talks about self-reflection, course correction, and humility.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like most people don't show their vulnerable selves out there, but you have to just show out that you are a person. You are not a god.
Yes.
Even gods have feelings, I think. But if I was a Greek god believer, I think they would have feelings. But that's the Xenon episode in Hercules, right?
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Going back to the age of Kevin Sorbo and everything.
I love it.
But you know what? But here's the thing. Find yourself. The one thing that I took away here in this 20 minutes is find that 5 or 10 minutes to find yourself.
Thank you.
So, you don't have to do a lot of things, just go out for a walk. 10-minute walk is enough.
Yep.
But find yourself, because it allows you to reset.
So good. So good.
Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate you being on our show, and we'll have you back again to talk some more. And I appreciate it. And we will talk some more.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.